And now with us in the Hyundai Texans radio studio, it's head coach DeMeco Ryans following the Texans' epic win at Tennessee. Coach, a week ago we gathered here and talked about what it was going to take, and it took everything you had, but you got the job done. Your feelings and thoughts?
It did take everything, but I'm excited. We got it done. It's always you want to come out on top with the W, and we did that, right? Took a lot of time, 4 quarters and overtime, but very pleased with the effort from our guys and, how everybody, continued to push. Nobody blinked in the moment. Everybody had this confidence on that sideline and throughout the locker room that they felt we knew we were going to win that game.
Coach, there's so many times this year we've said, but as a team win. Marc and I were talking about it. We always give out the player of the game, and we're like, well, what about this guy? Well, what about this guy? What about this guy? I know you can't just pick one, but it felt like there were so many guys that contributed to the win, and that's probably the way you drew it up, no?
Yeah, it was. I felt like that's what it would take, like early in the week as we were preparing. I felt like it was going to take everybody, and literally everybody on our roster, they stood up and made plays. You talk about offense, every offensive lineman, right, was helped Motor run the way he ran. Our tight ends, Brevin, Dalton, the way they blocked. Receivers stepping in and blocking. Case having to step up. He made plays for us. The off-schedule play to Motor, none bigger than that one to put us in field goal range. So it's just every guy. Defensively, every defensive lineman contributed to the great defense we had against the run. And then also in the back end, like we lose Jimmy Ward. We got, Adrian stepping in. DAC had to step in as safety, like multiple guys, Desmond King, Christian Harris, like multiple guys just stepped up and made play after play after play to help us win that game.
Well, historically good performance against the run, Coach. And I was joking with Johnny. I said, well, why can't they do this every week against the run? So difficult to get that kind of thing done. And I know every back and every situation is a little bit different, but you saw the total team effort there.
Yeah, you did. And it started with the defensive line. The way they reset the line of scrimmage, as they call it, the interior D linemen, they played physical. They knocked back the guard, the center multiple times. Our DNs on the edge, they set the edges so the ball couldn't check and get outside. Corners did a really good job of showing up on the perimeter. That's where Derrick Henry has made a lot of plays. He checks his feet and he bounces the ball on the perimeter and he's one-on-one with the corner. I thought Sting and Nelson did a really good job of showing up when there was time for them to show up. And now he had nowhere to go, so now he almost stops in the backfield. And that caused a ton of TFLs, which led to his yard outage.
And you played nickel the entire game, and you held him to 9 yards. I mean, that shows, talking about Des King and him showing up. But, Coach, it felt like there were a couple times where Henry wanted to cut runs back, and it looked like he had something, and Denzel was right there on his hip. It felt like your linebackers played with this aggressive restraint. As if they didn't go run to where he was going. They anticipated where he was going to be, and they made plays that way.
Yeah, it was trust, right? They trusted that the edge would be set by the corners and the defensive ends, and now, Denzel and Christian, they were able to flow. Denzel played fast. He made a lot of plays for us. Desmond stepped up. He was playing well. It was like there's no need to change. Let's keep him in the game as much as possible, no matter what personnel they threw out there, because Desmond was playing instinctive. He was seeing it. He even made tackles for losses. Yep. It looks like we were blitzing him, but we weren't.
Right.
But he was all over it because he just had a really good feel and instinct for what they were doing.
Well, what about Desmond King, Coach? Because it looked like to me he was an honorary linebacker in the game. I know he's not one, but he was playing like one, very close to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, pretty much. He was a linebacker. He was a linebacker on yesterday. But Desmond, what popped off for me is just his instincts. That's really what jumped off. You talk about being that nickel, right? You have to fit the run if you're gonna play nickel, and you're tasked with covering some of the best receivers as well. Desmond, he did a really good job of both, right? Tried to mix it up, blitzing him a little bit, and he did a really good job of timing up his blitzes, manipulating his looks when he wasn't blitzing. So he played the game really well, right? And that's where you see that veteran presence just take over, right? Sometimes I didn't know what he was going to do. Yeah. He was all over, moving around, disguising his looks, doing a really nice job for us.
Coach, and on the offensive side, you tell receivers no block, no rock. You're not going to run block. You're not going to get the ball in receiving game. on the defense, if you don't stop the run, you don't get your opportunities to go rush the quarterback. I don't want to say we buried the lead in some sense, but you had 7 sacks. It's the second most tied for second most all time in Texans history. And you got them in third and longer situations because you were so good against the run. It wasn't a lot of 3rd and 3s and 3rd and 2s. You were 3rd and 9 or beyond. And that gave your guys an opportunity to go hunt with the pass rush. What was really working for them up front, because you didn't bring, that I remember, 5 or more often. It was just those 4 guys getting to work.
Yeah, that was the key, man. When you win first and second down, like the D-line, I always say you earn the right to rush the passer, and they earned it by – they were creating so much penetration. They were making tackles for loss. So now we're in 2nd and 12 situations, and now we get a stop. And now you look up, it's 3rd and 15, 3rd and 9. And now, now it's all about the rush and coverage. Now they have to try to throw a deeper developing concept. And our safeties and our corners did a really nice job of pattern matching, right? All of the concepts that they had. And it just made Levis hold on to the ball a little bit longer. And the D-line were able to come through with some wins. And on some of the sacks, right? You just Malik, all right, Derek Barnett, they just beat their one-on-one. As quick as you can beat a one-on-one, they beat their one-on-one, and they were able to get the quarterback down.
I think Derek tackled Levis with the tackle.
He did.
I think Jerry was tackling him from the other side with the tackle.
All right, so the way the defense played after that opening drive by the Titans coach when they scored, after that, did you feel like, all right, we really do have something? And did that affect your decision-making as late in the half, you don't go for it on 4th and 1, say, let's kick the field goal because we're going to be okay defensively? Was that part of the thought process there? What can you tell us?
Oh, for sure. I felt good about it. After our first drive, and we did a couple bonehead things there on the first drive to allow them to get down there. I want to eliminate that on the first drive of games. We have to play better. But once we settled in, I did feel like, okay, our guys are playing fast. Like they're on it, they're confident, and I felt that. And knowing that, I felt like, man, they can't move the ball on us. The only way they can get something on us is if we do something to allow a cheap explosive in the back end. But the coverage was tight. The safeties were playing true. Nobody was biting on, so we were good. And Petrie thought it was one of his best games he's had. Right, couple pass breakups. He played really sound football. All right, and that gave me the confidence and okay, hey, let's just take 3 here at the end of the half. We don't need to press it. Let's just get points, keep getting points, and at some point, we get in the red zone, we'll be able to score.
Coach, when did you feel like Case kind of got comfortable in the game? I mean, it's 13-0, and we're kind of like, man, do we have 2 scores in us today? But it felt like at some point he got more comfortable in what he was doing, and obviously got to the 4th quarter and then made a ton of plays. When did you kind of feel like Case was finding his groove?
Yeah, I felt that drive, right before going into half. I felt like that was okay. We got some momentum. Yeah. We started to move the ball, so I felt that. Felt him start to settle in there, move around a little bit. Saw him step up in the pocket, right, move around a little bit and make some throws. So yeah, at that point, going into the half, we're like, okay, now we just got to get them the ball back and just make sure defensively. I was pleading with our guys to kind of let's take the ball, right? We take the ball to give our offense a short field, but our offense, they moved it enough, right? Kaimi did a really nice job of making the kicks when he needed to make them to keep us in the game, and when we needed it most, we had a drive going down and we scored with K stepping up in the pocket to throw the ball to Noah.
I think I'm personally running Park Avenue in New York to say that Fairbairn should be AFC Special Teams Player of the Week after that performance. But the play of the game, there's so many plays in the game because any one of them could have turned this game. But Keenum able to run out to the right side, roll to the right, and hit Motor on the pass play to get you to field goal range, and the adjustment that Motor made in the pattern. Can you talk about that one a little bit?
Right. That's a play there where Motor is really, he's stepping up through the line, and typically you just have a check down where you're checking over the ball is not there, and you just go flat you just go lateral to the sideline. But you see Motor make the adjustment, and he makes that angle more of a 45-degree angle toward the sideline where he is a runaway angle from that defender. And Case does a really nice job of adjusting the trajectory of the throw, drops it right over the defender. And Motor, I just look up, it's like, all right, nobody's out there. Like, go, go, go. It's like, then once he crossed midfield, I think once he crossed the 50, I'm like, yeah, we're in Emy's range.
Right.
Close enough.
We were all thinking that same thing because I don't want to say this because I mean, minute 49, we've done some stuff this year, but the way the previous drive, I think we lost 21 yards on 3 sacks. So we're like, okay, when he made that happen, like, is there a chance here? I mean, it's Emi kicking, like, okay, we got a shot. I want to stick with Motor for a second, Coach, because it feels like in some of the biggest games this year, he's really given you a real jolt. I mean, in Cincinnati, he goes for 150 yards. Right. I mean, yesterday he was running. That's the best I've seen him run. I mean, the touchdown run that gets called back. I mean, I think every Titan hit him, and he's just all the way through it and gets to the end zone. What, in your eyes, has Motor meant to the offense since he's really kind of stepped into the void?
Yeah, man, he's been everything. If we can when we get the run game going, like you mentioned, of Cincinnati, right, or Jacksonville, we get the run game going, and some of our best wins this year, that's what we've been able to do is run the ball. And Motor has made a ton of plays for us, and I think our O-line, they blocked it really great yesterday, right, and created those lanes for him. But Motor is a slippery runner, really great contact balance, and he's always finishing forward. That's one thing I really like about him, playing behind his pads. And he's one of those guys you can just count on, right? Very reliable in the moment. Does a good job protecting the football. He's going to gain positive yardage every time he touches.
Another thing we talked about a week ago was the Titans' uniforms, meaning the Oilers' uniforms. You had a bit of a reaction to that last week. So how did that play out, that part of it, in your mind, when you saw the stadium decked out that way? Did it affect the players at all? Are they too young? How'd you see it, Coach?
I think the players are too young to really truly understand. And for me, I really didn't understand. My wife is giving me this
the history
She's
lesson.
giving me this history lesson.
Hey, listen, there's no more important person to give you that lesson.
So she gave me the lesson on that's our colors, that's our love you blue, that's ours. So she was giving me the lesson, and then that made me understand in a moment, like, okay, this means a lot to the native Houstonians, right? And it felt very weird being there in Tennessee Stadium. They got the Oilers logo. All of the Oilers wardrobe. It just felt really weird. My man Vrabel out with the hat, the Bum Phillips hat on.
I saw him walk across and shake your hand with the hat. And I thought, man,
it's like, hey man, it's a little too much. But I'm very happy that we were able to get that win for all the Houstonians, right? That feel a type of way about that Houston blue, and so I'm happy that we were able to give you some bragging rights over the Oilers, Titans, whatever they want to be.
Coach, there were so many moments. I mean, the Case hit Motor defensively. Stevens' pick was huge. What are you thinking when Case floats one up from the 20-yard line or so to Dalton Schultz in the middle of the field with just under 5? You got to score a touchdown, and he throws one up there. And there's Roger McCray saying, what are you thinking at that moment in time? Can you say it on the radio? Can you say those words on the radio?
Like, oh, no. I can't. No. I mean, it was, we're doing a boot there, so we want to throw the ball out to Hutch. Hutch is open. We miss him, and he starts to move around. I was like, oh, no, not in the middle of the field. You don't throw the ball up in the middle of the field. But Dalton, he comes through and just saves the day by taking the ball from the defender. Right, just shows that it was it was a dicey play. Right, no Case wants that play back, but you don't want to make that throw.
One of the things that you said last week that stayed with me is you said playmakers need to make plays, and it feels like that was one of those opportunities. Like Dalton Schultz is one of our playmakers. He's got to go make a play. And a little dicey, but he went and made a play.
A little dicey. Don't want him to make plays that way, but that is what we talk about, right? Your playmakers, your best players have to play their best. And that was Dalton stepping up and making that catch for us. That's Noah stepping up and making big catches for us all day. Right, and that's what you have to have. Motor, one of our best players, making plays. And when you have that, you have an opportunity to win the game.
All right, so now you have another situation where you're coming off a big emotional win and perhaps the biggest and most emotional of the season. We don't have to weigh it right now, but you face an opponent Sunday that's really good, especially on defense. They're hot right now. They're finding all sorts of ways to win football games. What do you think of the Cleveland Browns from where you sit right now, Coach?
Yeah, it's almost like we're the same team. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. Guys are in and out. Right, they lost their quarterback, so it's kind of you're in the same boat. Right, I mean it's all about that next man up mentality. Or man, let's go win these games as a team. In Cleveland, they're finding ways to win. And the same goes for us. We're all finding ways to win. So I think this is going to be a very evenly matched game. All right. And really, they play really good defense. We play really good defense. So it's just going to be a matter of, for me, which defense plays the best.
Yeah.
This Sunday, that's going to be the tell of this game, right? We can take the ball away. They have Flacco, who's a ton of experience, has made a lot of plays, won Super Bowls, right? And he's done a good job for them over the past couple weeks. So we have to find a way, all right, to make it muddy for Flacco, right? And we have to stop the run game. I know they've lost a lot of offensive linemen, but they're a good run team. So we have to stop the run. I think the Bears did a good job of that yesterday, stopping the run. We have to start there and force Flacco to beat us throwing the football.
Could you start talking about injuries? And I thought about you. You're okay, right? You're all right. You ran pretty quickly to get that challenge flag out there. Can you take us through that moment? Now, did they? I mean, you didn't quote unquote win the challenge. They already had called that incomplete, but you had to run to get that out there to stop the play. No?
Oh yeah.
Can you take us through that moment?
Well, it's our guys upstairs in the booth. They see it. They're able to get a replay, and they tell me it's kind of running down. It depends on how fast those replays show in the box. So that replay showed kind of late, and I was like, I didn't have the flag out as I should, so I'm reaching for the flag, and then I throw it, and I was like, hopefully I threw it far enough. But it's a panic going on, but it's also an excitement that comes over me because it's like, they're like, challenge it, coach, challenge it. I'm like, yes, okay, let's do it. Like these guys, they saw something, all right, to make them say challenge it, so this play should go in our favor.
Yeah.
All right, so it's Christmas week. We talked about this a bit during Thanksgiving week, that you have this huge holiday, you have families, you're at home, which might not be the best thing this week, depending on how you look at it, because maybe people visiting. What do you tell your players about handling this week? And you just went through it, so that's got to help a little bit anyway.
Right. I mean, the main thing, I always say, keep the main thing, and it's the Browns this week, right? Yeah. And I think for us, if Christmas falls at the right time, Christmas is on Monday, so we'll have a nice victory Monday if we handle business on Sunday, right? You can enjoy Christmas with your family. That'll take care of itself, but we got to go handle business. Make sure your family has something to cheer about. Make sure you have good things to talk about on Christmas Day by going out this week, preparing your best, all right, and going out and playing your best on Sunday so you can have a really nice Christmas.
What do you know about the Browns defense right now and how good they are? I mean, it's just as far as what you've observed. I know you're not fully into the game plan just yet, but this is one of the best defenses in the league, no question.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they're first off, starts defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz. He's, their front, their attack style of front, that's where our front kind of started from, right? And so they do a really good job there. You talk about Myles Garrett, one of the best defensive ends, right, in the league, right? This guy can wreck a game. So it starts there. You have to have him accounted for each and every snap. Then when it comes to their backing, I think their secondary has been the strength of their team. They can play tight man coverage, right? And they're going to challenge our receivers. They're going to be tight, right? They're not going to allow much space. So we have to be able to beat man coverage. And it comes back to what we did this past Sunday, though. If we can find a way to run the ball, right, that softens the defense up. So we have to find a way to run the ball. But this defense, I think they're not number one. They're probably number one defense in the league. They've held a lot of opponents. You're not going to get many yards on these guys, so you have to earn everything that you get. It's going to be a tough matchup for our offense, but we have to find a way.
Coach, how problematic is it? A lot of guys that are great, they'll line up in one spot, maybe another. Garrett will move all over the place. Yeah. How problematic does that make it for Bobby and the offense to kind of game plan for, okay, if 95 is here, is how we want to do it. If he's here, we want to – how does that make it tougher because he doesn't line up in just one spot?
Right. When you have a guy that's that versatile, like he can line up on the edge, it's kind of easier when he's on the edge. If you want to utilize a chip or you want to slide the line, slide the protection to him, that's easier. But what they've done a good job of, as you mentioned, they'll line him up over the center, right? And you try to give him, they put him in positions where he has a favorable matchup. So they find a way to make him a one-on-one matchup with the center, whereas how can you help him in that spot. So they do a good job of dictating protections, the draw miles, a one-on-one matchup. We just have to find a way to hold up, get the ball out as quickly as possible. Right? You can't hold on to it for too long because he'll find a way to get you down.
All right, the Amegy Bank Ask Coach question of the week. I've got a couple of options for you here,
All
Coach.
right.
Because it's the giving season. Couple of options. One is, give me a Christmas tradition that you and your family have, or maybe you had from your youth that you really like, or maybe one or two of your best presents you've ever gotten, or maybe presents that you've hated. Whichever one you want to pick, Coach.
Oh, man. Best presents? Well, the child, I do a little bit of both, I guess.
Okay.
The tradition with my family is everybody gets together. It's my mother's side of the family. She has like 6 brothers and sisters, so all their kids, everybody gets together, and it was really cool growing up because you got a gift from everybody, right? It wasn't an expensive thing.
Yeah.
You may get a pair of socks or some lifesavers or whatever.
But it's volume.
It was volume, unwrapping a lot of gifts, so that was all cool. Everybody got together on Christmas Eve. We had a big dinner, and you open gifts, play games. So that was one tradition, that I miss not being back home all the time. One of the worst gifts I gotten was probably I was probably like 13 or 14. I think I got a juicer. And I think it was my aunt. My aunt got me a juicer. She always has these gag gifts.
At 13.
Like, about 13 with a juicer. Like, what am I going to do with this?
Now you'd probably like it.
Now everybody needs a juicer, right?
That's right. Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck this week.
Thank you, guys.